seconds left again, Fabi. And just while we wait for that result to tick in, it's incoming any moment now. We see the Armageddon game begin with Magnus Carlsen and Anish Giri. Magnus with white. Will we see a repeat of the earlier clash in the Catalan? Quick moves to start with. No, this time it's the Nimzo Indian and the Queen C2 variation, where white gets the bishop pair, but white's queen forced around now. Yeah, theoretical stuff, Judith.
And the knight coming in to attack the queen, and now the pawn structure has stabilized in the center.
And Magnus has employed this variation recently, if I recall. This line with c takes d5 didn't have a great reputation. Magnus trading pawns a couple of moves ago didn't have a great reputation for a long time, but suddenly it's come back into fashion. And I remember some clashes between Fabiano and Hikaru in this line. It gets very, very sharp. Magnus clearly has done his homework, and Anish pausing. Can't afford too many long things in an Armageddon. He's been caught unawares by this opening choice.
And in the meanwhile, Fabiano has resigned. Hikaru does walk away with 3 points. Very important 3 points for Hikaru, who was at the tail end of the tournament. And now, as you said, Judith, anything can happen. It's getting close.
Yeah, suddenly Fabiano's 4-point lead in the tournament might be cut down to 1 point if Hikaru wins his classical encounter. Yeah, anything can happen now indeed, and meanwhile, something should happen for Anish Giri. Any move is better than none at this point. He spent over 1 minute on this move.
At the same time, he wants to decide how to react on that, because after that he's going to be probably pretty fast in the next moves. Sacrifice the pawn for compensation. Let's see whether is he going to be really having enough compensation in this game.
Yeah, Magnus knows what to do, of course. He did not hesitate at all. He grabbed the pawn, and here black has to decide how to compensate. You need to be quick. You need to get pieces into the game while all of white's kingside pieces are still asleep.
And of course, queen exchange in Anish's game, as in so many other games. This is what we've seen. I think this is the good move, and then play rook c2, looking for counter chance, and compensation will be pretty obvious. But I'm sure that black will have to make accurate moves.
Yeah, 2 options for white. Either you keep your bishop alive, or you save a bit of time by capturing this black knight, give yourself a tempo, but on the downside you don't have the bishop pair, so Magnus retreats back to f4. And yeah, that rook is going to land any moment now. There we go, rook to c2. How does white evict those black pieces? The black knight in the center can be kicked away. Question mark though attached to that move, because Magnus does immediately play f3. Knight has to go back to f6.
Yeah, that's kind of painful news.
Yeah, I wonder whether Anish should have finessed this, maybe played a move like g5 first.
Maybe g4 is coming.
It is.
Because the black bishop can't go to g6 because rook c1 immediately. It's some tactics, and if the bishop has to move back to e6, then rook b1 will be possible. And then e3, bishop d3 comes.
Yeah, slowly but surely, white can evict those black pieces out of his half. He's already kicked back the knight and bishop. I love your move, Judith, there. Rook b1. Magnus loves it too. I think he's just played it. And 2 moves before Magnus establishes full stability. e3, bishop d3, and then it's just an extra pawn and bishop pair.
Well, this is absolutely a home prep for Magnus, I believe. This was a great trap.
It was a trap, and it had been played before, and it was just a careless moment from Anish. And once again, Magnus being very wily with his opening choices. And now the bishop does come to d3, the rook is kicked back, but as David and Judah have been highlighting, white is simply material up with a great position and to boot.
And Anish looks away from the board in disgust, not liking what he's done. Even if Magnus didn't have the extra e3 pawn, I think he would still be a big favourite in this game, just because white has full control, bishop pair.
Exactly, that things are not going well. To have such a position against Magnus, pawn down, bishop pair, he's going to be playing king f2, I think, simply, and eventually e4. I had some
will sit on c3 forever. With a nice blockade, we see a trade. Opposite colour bishops at least, but small solace. Still a pawn up. Okay, everything coming off the board.
Well, Magnus certainly has his eyes on the b6 pawn. It's now time for the bishop to get into the game, perhaps retreat to d7, support the advance of the b pawn, but no, he's pushed his h pawn. And they always say when you're struggling, exchange pawns, sorry.
The problem for Anish is that he's simply lost another pawn now. If the black knight takes back on h5, white has bishop c7 and the black b pawn drops. The second issue is even if he goes defensive and defends his b pawn, he's going to be tied up, paralyzed, immobilized forever. This one's over. And you can see, sad move, king h7.
d4 will be
Yeah. Magnus first improving his king. Why not?
defends the pawn. No.
And that's it, Anish has had enough, and Magnus takes the Armageddon point, and therefore picks up 1.5 points for Anish. It is a bad day at the office, and he loses.
Yeah, Magnus's fourth Armageddon win out of 5 rounds so far, but still not enough to get close to the lead. Magnus needs to up his game in classical, but looking smooth so far in the Armageddon.
And talking